Good Thursday afternoon, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille Show. Thank you kindly for joining us. This program all about showcasing and championing the best of Charlottesville and Central Virginia, and our guest undoubtedly embodies those qualities. Dr. Bobby Chhabra will join us in T-minus 30 seconds, folks. Of course, we're live in Charlottesville, across the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network, streaming on every social media platform known to mankind. And folks, we thank the good partners, the great partners at Ting Fiber Internet for being the power of the I Love CVille Network. Crazy fast internet is Ting Fiber Internet. Judah Wickhauer is our director, and on a glorious Thursday to be above the mud, guys, we welcome a gentleman, a scholar, a Renaissance man that needs very little introduction, and Dr. Bobby Chhabra to the program. Bobby, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jerry. It's really an honor to be on the program. I really love what you do for this city and how you promote our businesses, our community, and the best of Charlottesville. I've lived here for 31 years. My entire career went to school here. I've had my entire career in orthopedic surgery here at UVA Health. And it's a real honor to be here, and really thankful for everything you do for this wonderful city and my home.
Well, I can sincerely and genuinely mean this. The honor is ours to have someone of your resume and skill set, pedigree, and the commitment you've made to this community. I mean, it's like a Christmas list, a really good kid's Christmas list of what you've done for Charlottesville and UVA. How about we start with the University of Virginia? What's this institution mean to you?
It really is a great question, and you're an UVA alum as well, so I know you understand this, but I'm from Virginia originally. I grew up in Northern Virginia and came here for medical school and did my orthopedic surgery residency here, and stayed on faculty here and have been in practice for over 20 years. And I really owe everything to my experience at UVA, from an education standpoint, from the people who mentored me, from people who gave me opportunities to build a practice here. Dr. Frank McHugh was my mentor. He was the head team physician for UVA Athletics for over 40 years. He gave me a job. Dr. Guozhou Wang was the chair of orthopedic surgery, a very well-known member of this community for decades. These are individuals that inspired me and influenced me, really drove me toward a career in orthopedic surgery, and then gave me an opportunity to come back to UVA. I've been fortunate to work with some incredible people, to be taught and mentored by some amazing people in Charlottesville, and then given the opportunity to return after my fellowship training and be on faculty here in the School of Medicine and develop a practice that has included taking care of a lot of patients' traumatic injuries. I'm a hand, wrist, elbow surgeon. I've been one of the team physicians for UVA Athletics for 20 years, and I take care of, I have a congenital hand clinic. I'm one of the only congenital hand surgeons in the state of Virginia, so I take care of babies who are born with congenital hand differences. So I've had a real opportunity to develop an amazing career here, and it's because of the support I've gotten from the University of Virginia and my mentors and the people here at UVA Health.
I was talking with Mike, who's C-suite at UVA Health, CFO, neighbor of ours, and your name came up at a 4-year-old birthday party. He was talking about the show, and I said, I can't wait to have Dr. Chhabra on the program. His eyes lit up when your name came up, and he called you Mr. UVA. I have heard that from so many people. I would love if you highlighted some of the most memorable stories or aspects of your time around grounds, around the sports team, working with athletes, working with folks from the community. You know, let's cut to the chase. Here's another story I heard. Heidi, who was a former softball coach at UVA, she said that you did this incredible surgery on her hand. And I believe she's watching the program right now. She sung your praises. So I'm going to get out of your way. Some of your most favorite UVA stories for what is now 6 states watching Dr. Bobby Chhabra on the show.
Again, it's very humbling to have this big of an audience. So thank you again for having me today. Mike's an incredible guy too. He just ran an Ironman
Right?
triathlon. So kudos to Mike, and he's really it's a lot of fun working with him at UVA Health. There's a lot of great moments in my life here. Obviously, graduating from medical school. And my wife also trained here. She's an endocrinologist in the community, and she also graduated from Darden Business School a few years ago. So we're both UVA alums and very proud of that. So that's obviously something that was huge for us. Our kids have grown up here, and they've gone to school here, and they've really enjoyed being part of the community and participating. And my son's a swimmer, my daughter's a rower, and just getting to know people through their sports. It's always fun to see your kids interact with other kids in this community, and just the wonderful relationships you develop over time. But I've had so many great experiences here, not just in school, but in practice, getting to develop a thriving orthopedic practice and help lead an orthopedic department. I've been chair of the department of UVA Orthopedics for the last 9 years, and we've really grown to meet the needs of the region and community. I've hired some tremendous people that I'm proud of that are part of the department. And we have a brand new facility that's opening on Ivy Road, orthopedic hospital, essentially an orthopedic outpatient facility. That'll be one of the best in the country when it opens, and all orthopedic care will be provided there, and all services, including imaging and therapy. And that grand opening will be sometime in early 2022. We're ready to move in. It's been over a decade of planning and building and negotiating, but it will be a true gem for UVA Health and the university, and nationally defining for the orthopedic department. So I'm very proud of that. And of course, been a great. I've been going to sporting events and helping care for UVA athletes my entire career. From the time of, I've been to everything from lacrosse to swimming to football, basketball, and just the greatest experience, which I think many people will share. I helped take care of UVA basketball, and I was in Minneapolis when we were at the Final Four and won the national championship. And to be part of that experience and to help care for our players across all our sports is incredibly gratifying. It's very humiliating, not humbling is the right word, humbling, because these are very high-level athletes that a lot of stress involved in caring for them, because you want to make sure they get the best outcome. But that's true for anyone I treat. My job is to make sure that they can participate in the activities and hobbies and sports and occupations that they love doing, and that gives them purpose. So I've been very fortunate to have a career here that I hope will continue to thrive, particularly with our new facility. But this is a wonderful university, wonderful community. My kids have been raised here and grown up here, and my wife and I truly love it here, and this is home.
We got comments coming in. So as Judah's getting some good pictures of you and you're smiling for our director, JW, this is from Kevin Higgins. Kevin, we love when you watch the program. He says, Bobby is the best physician, the kindest man, and the most decent person the UVA health system has ever had. This guy leaves a positive experience on everyone. He should be running it all. That's from Kevin Higgins. This is from Grayson, who's watching the program, a routine watcher of this show. Bobby Chhabra has performed surgeries on 2 of my family members. This man is approachable, humble, and explains things when a lot of other physicians will not. He spends time with his patients. This guy is an asset to the community. And more of this is coming in for you, Dr. Chhabra. When you hear comments like this, how does that make you feel?
I'm obviously very humbled and very grateful, and I'm thankful that I've been able to have a positive impact on people's lives. It can sometimes be very challenging. A lot of people have some devastating injuries, and it's hard to reconstruct some bad injuries and hope for a good outcome. But I can tell you it's very heartwarming to hear that. As a surgeon and as a physician, not everything works out perfectly like you hope when you go into surgery or when you devise a treatment plan. So I'm very humbled that I've been able to have a positive impact on many people, and I'm thankful that I had the training and the mentorship, and I've had the support here at the University of Virginia and UVA Health to allow me to grow as a physician, as a surgeon, and as a person throughout my entire career here.
UVA, this UVA Orthopedic Center that's opening on Ivy Road in 2022. I'm reading a story on one of the Virginia websites, and Dr. Chhabra, this has been a dream and hard work and sweat equity and a vision for a long time. I mean, it's looking like since what, 2009 you planted the seed?
Yeah, the seed for this was planted by myself and many of my partners in UVA Orthopedics as long ago as 2009. And the idea was to build a facility where you would have comprehensive orthopedic care regardless of the problem you have, and you would be able to get the evaluation, treatment, imaging, therapy, even surgery in one location. Right now, we have 8 different clinics in 8 different locations across UVA Health, and now we're consolidating all the specialties, all the clinics from hand, foot and ankle, orthopedic, spine, sports, joint replacement, and orthopedic trauma, and prosthetics, orthotics. All our clinics are moving into one facility to allow for this seamless and efficient care for our patients. There's a therapy center there. There's an imaging center with MRI and CT and fluoroscopy. There's a pharmacy, and there's an education center there for not only our community, but for our medical students, residents, and fellows, and the next generations of learners that we're training in orthopedic surgery. So consolidating all of this into one building in one location makes it better for patient care. It makes it better for education and collaboration for clinical care. And I've always said a patient's time is as valuable as mine or any of the other providers. So we want them to have an efficient experience and get the right diagnosis, the right imaging, the right treatment by experts and specialists who are collaborating together and working in the same building and working next to each other. Because often a person may come to the sports center because they have a knee injury, and you get x-rays and MRI and there's arthritis, and the right person to treat them is a knee joint replacement surgeon. And they'll be next to each other in clinic rather than in different buildings, so you can see the providers you need to see. There's the collaboration by the experts, and all my surgeons and all the providers there are specialty trained, fellowship trained, and they're experts in orthopedics and in their specialty. So to have that level of care in one facility is going to really advance the care that is provided to our community, to our university, to our student athletes, to the region, and to the state. And this is really a nationally defining center for UVA Health, and we hope to grow to really attract patients from across the country.
Let's welcome our friends from Buckhead, Georgia to the program. A lot of UVA alum in Buckhead in the Atlanta area. We love when you guys watch the program. More comments coming in, and this is from Laura Carini. Jerry, this gentleman is just a fantastic human being. Please ask him about some of his greatest mentors. You mentioned Dr. McHugh, Frank McHugh. I mean, his name is all over UVA. How about we take it a step further? One of your best Frank McHugh stories for everybody.
Oh,
There's a lot of them.
I have so many stories. I could fill an entire 3 or 4 hour show with stories about Dr. McHugh. But, he was someone that as a young learner, as a resident and a medical student, the way he took care of patients was remarkable. It was different back then. Everyone showed up, 70 patients showed up at 7:30 in the morning and just waited in line to be seen at some point during the day by Dr. McHugh. But what was incredible is he not only knew the patient's name, and he took care of a lot of young athletes across the state. He knew their coach. He knew specifics about the last football game they played in and their stats. He just knew things about people, and he remembered them, that he made a real connection with patients. And that allowed him to provide a level of care that I think is often not seen in this day and age in medicine, that connection with patients is so critical, and the connection with the patients' families. And he took care of a lot of professional athletes from Major League Baseball, from football, and from basketball. So having that connection with not only the athlete or patient, but their families and their other advisors and team members was very important, because communication is critical in patient care, and making sure that a patient understands their injury or their problem, and making sure they understand the treatment options they have, whether they're surgical or not, because a lot of problems can be treated without surgery. So that ability to communicate and connect with a patient was something I really learned from Doc McHugh, because he did it, and I couldn't believe 70 patients would come into clinic, and he knew everyone's name and where they played and who their coach was, and it was remarkable.
This question, guys, we're going to get to. Ask Dr. Bobby Chhabra what his favorite sport is and why. We will get to that here. We see Dr. Joe Geek, or one of his family members, watching the program. Joe Geek, you're good people. We actually purchased this space from you, Joe Geek. We love you, Joe. And it's great to see you at ACAC as well, Joe. I very much enjoy running into you in those cowboy boots, sir. All right, why don't we get to the sports question here?
Yeah, so Joe, I got to say hi to Joe.
Yeah, say hi.
Joe trained me. You know, Joe was with Doc McHugh. He's an unbelievable therapist and trainer, and he's remarkable with patients, and he still takes care of patients that I care for, and he's really a remarkable person that has contributed a lot to the UVA orthopedics over many decades.
And we also got to say this, Joe, you still get after it hard at ACAC. I see you working out so hard, Joe Geek. All right, your favorite sport and why? That might be the toughest question I ask you, because you love all the sports.
I love all sports, but that's a tough question. I love college basketball, and I love pro football and college football. I mean, but I really will watch anything. I'll watch the National Cornhole Championships if it's on TV.
Me too.
I mean, I will watch anything. I love sporting events. At my long-time UVA, I bleed orange and blue just like you do. I love UVA athletics, everything about it. I'm also a long-suffering DC sports fan. I grew up in Northern Virginia, and I was a season ticket holder for Washington football team for almost 15 plus years. My son and I used to go up to a lot of games, and they never really did much. They still don't do much, but I still, my son is a long-suffering DC sports fan because of me as well, but my kids are really involved and really passionate about UVA athletics. My wife is a huge UVA basketball fan. And is a huge UVA sports fan as well. So that's a big part of our family life and family time together, is watching UVA sports. And my son and I spent a lot of time watching DC sports together and watching us lose quite a bit. That's
literally how I grew up, with my dad, my brother, and I. My dad, I gotta get this right, 1972 UVA alum. My brother, also an alum of the university as well. A lot of similarities here. Throw this to you. How did you and your beautiful wife meet? Tell us the love story.
No, that's I'm not sure she was. So it's interesting. We grew up together. Her brother was one of my best friends growing up, and our parents knew each other when they first moved from India to this country into Northern Virginia. So we kind of knew each other through our families, and we started dating when I was in med school here, and she was in med school at Georgetown. And I convinced her to move down here and move to Charlottesville, and convinced her to marry me, which I still think is one of the greatest accomplishments I've ever made, I've ever had in my time. But and then she did her residency in medicine and fellowship in endocrinology, and she's has a practice here, Albemarle Endocrinology. So, and we've been fortunate, but we've known each other. We've known each other since we were kids, and she. We always thought we were going to end up in Northern Virginia because that's where our families are, but we both love Charlottesville, and very fortunate to build a life here together and raise our kids here.
Dr. Scott Wagner, welcome to the program. There's a UVA basketball season ticket holder. Dr. Wagner, we love you and enjoy working alongside your practice and your brand. Kevin, we'll get to your comment here. Brad Hawes, welcome to the program. A lot of respect for you, Brad Hawes, here on the show. You have a lot of, I'll tell you what, when Bobby Chhabra comes on the show, the letters before and after people's names, they start rising in prolificness from a viewership standpoint. We got a lot of doctors watching the show right now, which is a reflection of this gentleman. How about this one? Dr. C, what is your best memory regarding a patient?
Oh, that's there's so many great memories, but I think taking care of our athletes is always very rewarding, particularly when they win national championships or get drafted for the NBA. But I think taking care of children here has really been probably some of the most rewarding experiences I've had. My dad's a pediatrician, now a retired pediatrician. I always thought I was going to go into pediatrics, but I was really enamored by orthopedic surgery. And orthopedics is something, particularly my practice, I take care of newborns all the way to PGA, the senior LPGA members in our community. So it's great to be able to operate and take care of individuals across all ages. But I took care of a young kid that was, they did a story on years ago, who was born without thumbs, and I was able to do what's called a policization procedure and created thumbs out of his index finger so he would have more highly functioning hands. And I took care of him probably 8-9 years ago, and now he's when he was 1 or 2 years old, and now he's out there active playing sports, and his family is wonderful members of this community, his parents, and it was very gratifying to do something like that for a child whose experiences in life would have been different if he hadn't been able to have an operation like that. So
let's put this in perspective here, and we'll welcome Boca Raton, Florida to the program. That's 7 states, folks from 7 states watching the program literally as we speak. And if you have questions or comments, or you want to give Dr. Chhabra props, just put it in the feed. Loretta Matterson, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us. We really appreciate when you watch. Peter Krebs, hello, and welcome to the show. Here's a good one. So many people associate you with sports. Your favorite sport to play? That question was just asked.
That's back in the day, right? So now I got some knee arthritis, I got some aches and pains now that I've gotten a little bit older. But I like to be outside. I played football in high school, and I love being on the throwing the ball around. I used to love playing pickup ball basketball when I was a little bit more mobile than I am now. But I really just like being outside. And now, I love swimming. I've gotten more into swimming. It's better on the joints. My son was a swimmer from a very young age, and he swam for Glenmore for years and years, and now he's swimming in college. But swimming is such a great sport now that I really enjoy doing it, and it's become more and more of something I like to do when I can. But I got into riding the Peloton for a while. That was fun. Now I have an elliptical that I just got for the house and doing that. But I really, whatever I can do to stay active as I get older and keep my joints and from hurting. But back in the day, I loved playing a lot of pickup ball, and I loved playing just football. And growing up, did a lot of street hockey. I loved street hockey in the neighborhood. That was one of my favorite things to do. But we don't do that as much now around here.
Brian Keller watching the program. He's watching it on the west side of Richmond. And Brian Keller said you successfully operated on his mother, and he thanks you for that. He thanks you for being kind and humble throughout the entire process of working alongside her. He drove often to be with his mom for the consultations before surgery. He wants to pass along the good wishes to you. I have a question personally, and Ron Fedetta, welcome to the program in Scottsville, Virginia. How about Charlottesville and how you guys managed during the pandemic? What changed Fortunately, and I'm even hesitant to say this, I think we potentially might be putting this behind us. I pray that we are putting this behind us. I'm knocking on IKEA here that we're putting this behind us. I think we're all, especially I know my wife is, we're all going to feel very relieved and more confident when our little ones can get protected and vaccinated as well. I know both my wife and I, with the booster shots, have gotten more confident and more secure, especially my amazing wife, who's the rock and foundation of our family. I love you, honey. You guys and COVID and medicine and innovation, how did you guys manage? Give us the flip book.
Well, I think it was very challenging when COVID first hit. No one had ever seen this virus before. We didn't know how it was going to impact us. We didn't know how dangerous it was, and it really everything came to a grinding halt in the hospital as well. We canceled elective surgeries. We limited our clinics to just emergencies. It really changed the way we practiced medicine for a very long time. It impacted our education, because normally we'd have education conferences in person, and then we had to quickly move to Zoom. I think everyone got used to Zoom very quickly as a way to do things. But a lot of people delayed receiving care during COVID. They were scared to come to the hospital, understandably. Vaccinations weren't available. And a lot of people had health issues that they had to delay, and it led to progression of health issues and more complicated problems when they did come to surgery, come to receive care. And I think that we are still learning, and we're still seeing the impact of COVID. I mean, it has changed our life dramatically. We're constantly wearing masks everywhere we go in the health system. We are very careful with regard to sterility and making sure that individuals are protected. Obviously, you saw the mandates for the health system that everyone get vaccinated. Most of us have gotten boosters as well, and we want to protect our patients who we care for, and we want our patients to be protected. It's really changed the way we do things, and I think it's also unfortunately led to a lot of burnout in healthcare. It was very stressful, very scary to be taking care of patients early on when we didn't understand what was going to happen. And I think unfortunately people have left healthcare because of that. We're having a lot of staffing issues across the country in healthcare. A lot of nurses and so forth have decided to leave healthcare because of the stress and the burnout and the long hours that people have worked, and the uncertainty. So it's been very challenging. Things are starting to improve. We're getting back to much more normal, but I think we're going to have to keep our fingers crossed, as you said, that we're getting to the other side of this. But there's a lot of uncertainty with this virus, and we're going to have to wait and see. But the most important thing we can do is be careful, get vaccinated. If you want to get vaccinated, get your booster. Hopefully the kids will get vaccinated. That'll be a huge difference in terms of limiting outbreaks when kids are vaccinated. And being careful and wearing a mask when you should, and just being safe. That's what's important right now, to protect yourself and protect others.
Missy is asking that question right there. Would you suggest that the kids get vaccinated?
All right, that's a
Do you get that a lot?
Question. I get that a lot. I have a weekly show on the radio, and it's about sports injuries. I've done it for 5 years now, but the last year it's been a lot about COVID.
WINA, right?
WINA with Jay James.
Yeah.
So it's it's a really fun thing I do. Jay started that. I'd known Jay since he was an undergrad. He contacted me and said, "Let's do this sports injury show," and it was a lot of fun. But then obviously we've been talking a lot about COVID and the impact not only in the community and the country, but on sports. But there's a lot of questions about vaccinations and so forth. And my kids are older; they're 20 and 18. They got vaccinated a long time ago, but the studies show that it's safe, and people we've seen increased hospitalization of kids who aren't vaccinated across the country, across the world. So it's safe, and it is protective, and it prevents against hospitalization and severe disease. So if I had kids, and again, this is opinion, but if I had kids of that age, I would definitely get them vaccinated.
Well said, well said. So this is coming in via text message. We love when you guys text, whether you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, or any of these social media platforms. You can always text me questions. This is from Trip. My parents moved to the Charlottesville area because of the world-class nature of UVA Health. Jerry, please ask Dr. Chhabra of the reputation UVA Health has from a health, a safety, and from a saving lives standpoint, not only across the country, but across the world.
It's a great question. You know, I'm proud to be part of an organization that really focuses on quality, really focuses on safety. We want to be the safest place in the country to work from a health care perspective, and from a UVA Health, we want to provide the highest level of care and treatment options for our patients, and we want to do it with the highest level of quality. You know, medicine is not an exact science, and there's a lot of things, as we've learned from the COVID virus, that there's a lot of uncertainty in medicine, and treatment options and diagnoses sometimes take time, but you know, the goal is to provide the best patient experience and the highest quality of care by experts and specialists who are the most knowledgeable in the field. You know, it's constantly a work in progress to achieve that aspirational goal, and I'm glad to be part of an institution that really makes quality paramount, as well as patient and staff safety.
Throw this to you. Hey, our friends at Peloton Station are watching the program here. What's up, guys? And welcome to the show.
As you know, I'm a frequent customer of Peloton. It's not too far from my house, and I love that place.
Yeah, so. Same. Me too. Curtis and the staff. What's up? Rashad, is that you watching the program? Let us know who's watching over there. We love Peloton Station. Ooh, this is a good question. And Judah, let me know when you send me that pic. I want to highlight here at the end of the interview what I think is the best headshot of any guest we ever had. Your headshot. We'll put it on screen over here.
Scary.
Sharp dressed, handsome individual you are, Dr. Bobby Chhabra. Okay, couple more questions for you. We were talking about this before the show. How Charlottesville, thank you, Charlottesville, a town that we love dearly, is being portrayed nationally. I mean, we have the A12 trials are going on now, about a block and a half from us, literally, as we speak. And we have these, this is me saying it, this is not you saying it, we have these pariahs from the national news just kind of chomping at the bit at this story to drive ratings and to utilize it to push the news cycle. We all know, folks that live here, Charlottesville and Central Virginia, that this is not Charlottesville that's being portrayed, and not just the national news, but I hate to say this, the global news. A12 first. We'll start with August 12th. August 12th, anywhere you want to go on that topic, Dr. Chopra.
Yeah, I think those of us who call Charlottesville home, that was obviously a very difficult, I mean, it's one of the worst times I can remember in my 31 years, probably the worst time living in this community. And I had a lot of calls from friends saying, why do you live in Charlottesville? The negativity was tremendous, and it exposed probably some issues within the community that may have been swept under the rug for a long time. But the reality is this is a wonderful community. I think a lot of the things that are portrayed are done because they're newsworthy, and they get, it's the shock value of news. Many of us who've lived in this community for most of our lives, or all of our lives, like you and I have, it's not the real Charlottesville. And that's why I really love your show, is that you show the positive side of Charlottesville, because the news tends to focus on just the negative to get headlines, and that's what's being portrayed nationally and internationally, as you mentioned. So I do think we're a city that has issues just like any other city. We need to address those issues. We need to do it in a collaborative, and we need to do it in a transparent and thoughtful manner. But you know, this city is not all negative, as is often portrayed, particularly in the news. There's so many positive things about this city. I think I wouldn't have chosen to raise my family here and spend my career here if it wasn't a wonderful city. And I think the work that you do every week and every day to show the positives of Charlottesville and the opportunities here for people business-wise and to raise a family, and to the wonderful education, the wonderful healthcare, the wonderful university, the outdoor activities, the music scene, the restaurants. I mean, there's a lot of positive things here about Charlottesville, and I often wish that there would be more focus on the positives and not always the negatives.
Well said, Dr. Chhabra. Very well said. Amen. I second that. We have our pals at Three Notch Brewing Company watching the show. What's up, fellas? I think maybe, is that you, Derek? Welcome to the show. Thank you for watching. Throw this to you. And I think you said it perfectly, it identified some areas that undoubtedly we needed to assess and address. And the conversations we're having now are conversations that I don't think we've ever had, at least not so frequently in the past. But as you also said, it's not reflective of the community in totality by any means. What would you like to see as we heal and grow and mature and improve the brand and the image and who we are? What would you like to see from the community as we move forward?
I think really the community coming together and working together. A lot of the negativity that was created were from outsiders, right? August 11th was mainly outsiders who came to this community. I mean, look at who was on trial here. Most of them don't live in Charlottesville, right?
Right.
So almost all of them don't live in Charlottesville. So I think the community needs to come together and have civil discussions and open and transparent discussions about issues. Try to do it. These are very emotionally charged topics, so try to do it by keeping our emotions in check and having thoughtful discussions about where we have opportunities to improve issues that have been identified. And I really think that this community, the people in this community want to do that, are capable of doing that. They want to heal, and I think we're going to continue to heal. It is a wonderful place to live. I can't emphasize that enough. It's truly a wonderful place to be. But just like any other city, I think over the political environment these last several years has ripped the Band-Aid off of a lot of issues across the country and even across the world. I think people need to respect other people's opinions, and we need to have transparent civil discussions and to determine what's the best way to move forward where that everyone wins. And to me, that's the most important thing, that we have to come to compromise and be flexible so that we can build a stronger community.
Poignant perspective from Dr. Chhabra. Bobby, you do so many things so well. How about the broadcasting piece with WINA and the show you do with Jay James? And Matthew Long, we'll get to your question. He wants to know your favorite couple of UVA athletes of all time and why. We'll get to that here. But how about the broadcasting piece? How much do you enjoy that? I mean, you are good. You are a hell of a broadcaster here.
I love it. I mean, it started out as just, I was like, no one's going to listen to the show, Jay. But, it's funny, but I love talking about sports, and I love talking about injury prevention and educating our community on how to, different topics about, you hear about athletes getting injured in pro sports or college sports. I have to be a little careful because I take care of UVA athletes. I don't want to violate HIPAA, so Jay tries to ask me some direct questions. I have to dance around some of the answers, but I think it's important to provide education to the community about injury prevention, how to optimize performance, and just understanding some of the topics that are making the news. Concussion was a big discussion. Drug use in the NFL a couple years ago. COVID, obviously, in the Olympics. COVID in across sports has been a busy topic, a busy discussion, and it's a frequent discussion. But I think if you're passionate about something and you enjoy talking about it, and there's a purpose for your discussions, and to me it's to educate the community about an area that I know and I'm passionate about, it really has combined my passion for orthopedic surgery and caring for patients and my passion for sports. And I literally thought it was going to be a whim, but this February it'll be 5 years of doing that show. and 2 Associated Press awards during that time.
Good job.
For best sports show in Virginia. So it's really,
Chopra.
I have always wanted, my next job when I grow up is to be on ESPN sportscaster, but they've always said I have a great radio face.
Face for radio.
So I don't know if I'll ever achieve that goal, but I think it combines my passions, and I really enjoy doing it, and it's fun to talk about things and get questions from people about how they can improve this, or what does this mean, or what is the rehab associated with ankle fracture dislocation? When will an individual return to sports? Oh, I just had this injury, can you tell me about the recovery? I just enjoy doing that, and it really has combined the things I'm passionate about.
You know what? The only time I'm gonna disagree with you this entire interview is the comment about face for radio, and this is a perfect segue into this headshot. Judah Wickower, for those that are watching, let's get this man's headshot on screen. Bobby, I'm gonna see if I can get it up on screen here on the big screen right here in our
really
studio.
Scared right
this
now.
is gonna be hold on, here it comes. Hold on, here it comes. Bobby Chhabra and his headshot. I think I got this. Do I got this here? It's on screen now. Judah's telling us. Tell us about this. Tell us about this headshot that we got here, because I see an extremely handsome man in a fantastic photo. You know the one I'm talking about, Bobby?
I have no idea. I can't see it.
The promo one. Judah, let me see if I can get this up here. It's the one we use for the promo post. You're in a suit. You're in a tie.
I remember that one. That's probably about 9 or 10 years old. So 1, I was much younger. 2, I didn't have all gray hair. I shave my head all the time now because all my hair is gray. And, that was probably 20 pounds ago. So from what I hear, I should avoid TV because it adds about 40 pounds. So the radio is good. So yeah, that's about 9-10 years ago.
Bobby, you look good. I love the eyebrows. Keep it on screen right there. Look at the eyebrows right there.
There you go.
This handsome guy right here. All right, so Bobby, let's get to Matt's question here. Your favorite UVA sports athletes and why?
Oh,
that's a tough one.
That's a real tough one. There's been so many great athletes. It's truly, back in the day, Herman Moore, Sean Moore, being at Scott Stadium when we were #1 in the country, that was amazing to see them play.
We lost to Georgia Tech, right?
Right, the Georgia Tech loss, right? Yeah. And then the Barber twins were fantastic. And then, Sean Singletary, icon, he's back in town now too. He really, and of course, Ralph Sampson, how can you not think it? But more recently, Malcolm Brogdon, DeAndre Hunter.
The president.
Yes.
Malcolm Brogdon.
And DeAndre Hunter. And Joe
Harris.
Joe Harris is truly one of my favorite all-time athletes to come out of this place, and he's just a really wonderful guy. It was really fun last night. I was watching NBA ball last night, and it was great to see Trey Murphy guarding DeAndre Hunter when the Pelicans were playing the Hawks last night. So Coach Bennett's a good buddy of mine, and we're family friends, and I'm really proud of what he's done over the last 10, 11 years now, and the quality of players he recruits and how he has them develop and mature as individuals, and what they're doing in the NBA. It's truly remarkable, and it's been fun to be part of that whole process of helping care for those athletes.
How about your favorite Tony Bennett story?
Oh,
we talk about a mayor of Charlottesville. How about Tony Bennett?
No, there's no question about that. There's a lot of good stories I can tell, but I think he'll crucify me if I share some of the funny family stories we've had. Particularly, our kids have grown up together, and our wives are very close friends, and we spent a lot of time together, and we've had some great family moments and a lot of fun. So it's probably best I continue to preserve his
and keep it on the DL.
Yeah, DL, so he continues to be the mayor of Charlottesville.
I want to highlight this, and we have some of the viewers that are saying this. Aren't we lucky with the sports teams across the board? The basketball team, and deservingly so, national champions, gets a lot of the pub and a lot of the talking points. I mean, Bronco and his football team are on fire right now. Brennan Armstrong is in the Heisman Trophy discussion. Literally, I'm reading an ESPN article this morning, and he's like 6 on the ranking for Heisman Trophy. It's amazing. It's amazing. But the department, the sports department in totality. You talk about being robust. You talk about quality teams across the board. I mean, I'm getting super into squash here. There's a guy on the UVA squash team that's ranked in the top 100 in the world. In the world.
International.
Right. Right? He's from Egypt. This dude is playing against professionals, and he's in the top 100 in the world.
It's remarkable. Obviously, football and basketball get a lot of the spotlight, right?
Yeah.
And the publicity. True, Tony is the best. We know that, and what he's done here is remarkable. Bronco has really turned around the team, and we were supposed to have a tough year, and then the receivers, Wicks and Armstrong, I mean, it's unbelievable what our offense is doing, and our defense is starting to become more and more solid. We got a really tough game late Saturday night against BYU away this weekend. But football is obviously moving in the right direction, and has been, really the last few years, has been a lot of fun to watch. But you're right, baseball has been, we were in the College World Series last year. We've won a College World Series championship. Lacrosse, two back-to-back championships. The women's swim team, national champions, and 5 Olympic medalists or 4 Olympic medalists from UVA swimming. There's a lot of the Olympic sports. The coaches are remarkable, and their accomplishments are remarkable, and they're recruiting tremendous people. And I think that just reflects how strong UVA is as a university, and what talented coaches we have. And they've built programs that recruit high quality student athletes, and it's really remarkable being an alum. And
You're
being all about UVA sports, really proud of all the sports. And I mean, rowing has won numerous national championships. It's incredible how deep the UVA athletic program is, and it's not just basketball and football; it's across the board, and it's really remarkable.
Spencer Kinsley's watching in McLean, and he says, "Dr. C, who's the best all-around athlete you've ever seen play at UVA?" Let me add to that, Spencer, if I could. This is all-around athlete, explosive athleticism, running, jumping, quickness, a guy that, literally could play, or a guy or gal, who literally could play multiple sports if they really wanted to.
Oh man, that is one tough question, and that's going to be, probably numerous answers. Perkins was pretty impressive when he was our quarterback. Bryce Perkins was incredible, an incredible athlete. He could play. Charles Snowden could play basketball. He could play football. I mean, there was some really talented athletes, but across the board, there's been a lot of it's just, there's so many. Some of our swimmers are world-class athletes right now. Truly world-class athletes, and it's just, I can't answer that question. There's too many of them, and that just shows that we have so many great athletes at UVA.
We got Carter Montague asking this. Dr. Chhabra, do you ever pinch yourself when you're on the sidelines watching these teams play at this high of a level? Often you have the best seats in the house.
So yeah, of course, it's definitely it's a privilege, and very humbled to be able to participate at that level and help to care for athletes. And it's my whole team. I have so many physicians who are experts who are on the sidelines and helping care for our athletes, regardless of the sport. And not only does UVA Orthopedics take care of UVA athletics, we also take care of JMU athletics, and have for 20 years, where their team docs as well. And we care for about 14 high schools and numerous other small universities. So we provide care for athletes across the region, and to 2 major universities and several smaller colleges and universities. So it's great to be involved in helping the student athletes. But to be honest, to me, everyone's an athlete. People need to perform at high levels in their occupation, in their hobbies, in their recreational activities, in squash. A lot of squash injuries. Be careful. Achilles tendon, my friend. You're starting to get a little older, so. But there's people get injured doing the things they love or at their work, and you need to really focus on the fact that we need to help them in orthopedics with these injuries so they can return to the things they love, or they need to return to things that allow them to make a living and provide for their family. So everyone who comes into our clinics is an athlete in some way. or they need to perform at a high level in what they do, whether it's a hobby or whether it's an occupation. So it's a real honor to take care of people who have orthopedic injuries here at UVA and at UVA Orthopedics, and I'm very fortunate to have a great team. And no one person can care for all our athletes. I'm the hand surgeon, and then we have a foot and ankle surgeon, we have spine surgeon, we have hip surgeon, we have sports knees and shoulders. So we have a team of people that we work with, the athletic trainers as well, for these high schools and colleges, and of course UVA. And it's a team effort to take care of these athletes. And it's really a dream job for me because, as I mentioned, it's a passion. Sports is a passion for me. And
I can tell.
Being able to take care of athletes kind of combines that passion. But as I said, my practice is I'm a trauma surgeon, and I do a lot of trauma, upper extremity trauma. Actually, I'll leave here today to go to the OR to take care of some patients who had some injuries last night that need treatment. But it's definitely a great part of my job. But it's just a part of my job.
You got, and we're mindful of his time here, guys. We're mindful of his time. Just a couple more here.
I got plenty of time.
You got plenty of time? You have a few more. You're a popular dude here. This is from Kimberly here. Kimberly says, I'm loving this interview. I have 2 questions for Dr. Chhabra. First question, as a mom of a 7-year-old, would you encourage us to play tackle football with our little guy? And then the second part of her question is, please tell us what it was like to be on the floor during the Final Four.
So the Final Four experience, and that's one of my favorite Tony Bennett stories, is I had the fortune with the other team docs to travel to Minneapolis for the Final Four and to be with the team as they trained and were locked down really during the Final Four until the championship game. And the Auburn game was amazing, and then of course the championship game was amazing. But it was great to celebrate and be part of that. But in the locker room afterwards, the way the thanks that Tony showed and how inclusive he was for so many of us who kind of helped support the team and to include us in that experience was one of the greatest experiences I've had being a member of UVA. So it was amazing, and I hope to experiencing it many more times. So I'm putting the pressure on Coach Bennett and his team, staff, to give us many more championships over the next few years. The first question, that's a really tough question. I played football my entire, from when I was young through high school, and I just love football, and I don't want to sound hypocritical, but I probably am going to come across this way, but I didn't let my son play football. I think the more I learned, and I still love football. I go to football games, I love it, but I've also seen some scary injuries, and I was hesitant to let my son play tackle football, and that was just a personal choice, and I know it, for someone who loves football, it doesn't make sense, but concussions and chronic traumatic encephalitis, CTE, all that stuff was not known when I was playing football and others were playing football. And some of the serious consequences from football, it can be devastating and can affect your entire life. For your life. So the real question is yes, people should play football, but I think, and the investment is being made, and the studies are being done, but it has to be made safer. The equipment has to be made safer. The rules have been adjusted to protect the players, and that needs to continue. And we're doing a lot of research here at UVA to see how we can prevent injuries and prevent concussions. How can you improve the shoe wear and the turf so that people don't have ACL injuries and sprain or ankle fractures. So the money has to be invested in research and development, and it really has to be made safer. There has been a huge drop off of high school and even younger athletes participating in football because parents are scared because they see the injuries that can be devastating and life-changing. So it has to be, the effort needs to be to make it safer, and as long as that's happening, football will always be a part of American culture and always be a great sport. But it is a dangerous sport to play, particularly as you get older. And
more physical, bigger, stronger, faster.
The kids are much bigger and stronger and faster and they train year-round, very different from when I played and others played. It's a different sport than it was 10 years ago, but it's still a great sport, and I think it's a personal decision, and you just got to make sure that the equipment is safe and that there's that the focus on safety is a priority.
I see you, when you were growing up, playing potentially two positions in football. A hard-nosed middle linebacker that liked to get in there, or a tough, hard-nosed like fullback or running back that loved to carry the rock. What position did you play?
That's a good. So I started playing fullback, but then most of my high school career, I was a tight end and defensive end.
Okay, very nice. All right, guys, we'll wind down this interview with just one of the best all-around guys in our community. One more from the viewing audience. Jerry, can you ask your guests his favorite restaurants and places to eat and food to eat in this town?
Oh, God.
That's the hardest one.
That may be harder than the sports questions, but, I'm a big foodie, and so is my family, but it depends. I love there's a lot of great restaurants in town. I mean, Orzo is one of my go-to favorites. Tabla, of course. I was at IVN last night for a meeting. I love spicy food, and so Millen, the Indian restaurant, of course, that's brings back a lot of family memories and memories going there. And Peter Chang's I just love spicy Chinese food. I love that restaurant. But some of the casual places, Peloton Station is great, and South and Central has become one of my favorites, in Dairy Market. Nice steak. We don't have a lot of good steak places here in town, so but there's so many great restaurants in this community, and we just spend a lot of time eating out and trying new restaurants when they open up. But I just listed a few of my favorites.
They're very nicely done. All right, last question for you, Dr. Chhabra. This community. Dot the I's and cross the T's for us. What's it mean to you? You raised your family here. Like you said, we bleed orange and blue. We'd love to sing the praises of the town. What's this mean to you, this town?
I mean, I think it's home, and it's comfort, and it has. It's really allowed me to. This town, this community, the university has allowed me to succeed in things that I'm passionate about. And that doesn't happen without the support of the community, the support of your mentors, the support of your institution, and the support of your family. And I think, and your friends, of course. So I think having such a wonderful friend and family circle, and having a great environment to work in has made my time and my life in Charlottesville and my family's life in Charlottesville very rewarding and very gratifying.
Well said. I feel the same way. Man, this was a good interview. Dr. Bobby Chhabra, guys, we are lucky to have him. For those that are asking, we will archive the show in totality in about 90 minutes to 2 hours on every social media platform possible, and we will archive it on ilovecville.com. I mean, we got like 15 or 20 different comments or questions we didn't get to. I know you're a busy guy. I'm so grateful for your time. Guys, when you see him around town, tell him thank you. I think he's one of the friendliest people out there. Obviously, he loves to talk sports. You can chatter UVA sports with him. Dr. Chopra, thank you so much for spending an hour with us today.
Absolutely. It was a real honor, and I hope to be back in the future, and thank you very much for this opportunity.
Our pleasure, Dr. Chhabra. Judah Wickower is our director. Dr. Bobby Chhabra just hit a grand slam, an absolute Hall of Famer right there. My name is Jerry Miller, and tomorrow we have a fantastic interview as we close the program. On tomorrow's show, we're going to welcome Catherine D'Souza. She's the executive director of Piedmont Area Tennis Association. And she is the brain and the inspiration and the visionary behind bringing wheelchair tennis to the Boar's Head Sports Club. So I'm very excited to spotlight that incredibly positive story of folks who love to play tennis and overcoming incredible challenges and still maintaining this incredible zest for life. So Catherine D'Souza tomorrow, Piedmont Area Tennis Association, with a mission of of creating a wheelchair tennis league here in Charlottesville. I mean, it's just awesome, the people we have here. I love to live here. For Dr. Chhabra, for Judah, my name is Jerry Miller, and this is the I Love CVille Show, where we try to showcase the best of Charlottesville, Virginia, every single day. You guys have a good afternoon. Take care. Dr. Chhabra, you get a grand slam.
I hope so.